Welcome back to another episode of the Day1Radio podcast. I am rolling solo this week. My brother Maurice Garland had business to handle, so I'm holding down the fort. Appreciate you guys watching via our partners at Livehiphopdaily. Appreciate you listening via our partners at CLNS Media on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review, and tell a friend to tell a friend. It's always good when I, got somebody from my soil on the podcast, man. One of my homeboys, we go back many, many years. He is a factor in the radio game, been on the radio in the Bay Area, KMEL for many, many moons. Also, you hear him every Sunday on Shade 405 on Sunday service, and you probably caught him spinning for some of your favorite artists on the road. And he is a bona fide all-the-time line stepper. My guy, Big Von. What's up, bro?
What's happening, brother? Bonafide line stepper. That's a good one. I never thought of myself as that, but I might start using that.
You definitely are. You definitely are, man. But yeah, man, it's good to have you on here, man, for sure, for sure. So we gonna go back a little bit, man. I will say this: you've been spinning like forever in the Bay. Like, it's probably kids that like grew up on you, like for real. But I know at one point you was DJing, you was rapping, you was doing all kind of shit. So when did the real hip hop bug like hit you? Like, when was it like, oh, this is my shit, I don't have to listen to what my parents listen to?
It started like early 80s. I had a cousin named Robeson, and he was able to sing Sucker MCs word for word when I was a kid. And the way he would do the words, he would say it, I'd be like, say it again, say it again, say it again, say it again. Because I just love the way he made the words go together. And I never forget it. And then I remember, I think I went to his house or somewhere like a family party, and they had the vinyl. And I remember seeing the vinyl of Run DMC, and I was like, I was always impressed with that. And for those who don't know, I was born in Passaic, New Jersey, raised in the Bay Area, came in when I was 5. Every holiday I went back and forth to the East Coast. So a lot of time I spent school here. Every holiday I went home. So I would go home, knowing I was going home, and listen to WBLS over and over, everything they had. So as it was, hip-hop was growing, I got a chance to get pieces of it. Every time I'd come home and be like, yo, you ever heard this, the Skinny Boys and the Fat Boys and all that shit like that? And that's when the bug happened when I was a young boy.
See, you had like the benefit. Like, I always hear these stories of when people like, yeah, my cousin in New York or my cousin in Philly or whatever used to send me tapes and all this stuff. If you didn't have no East Coast family, you was behind in the game a little bit. I always tell people the craziest thing in the world. I had no idea that I would end up becoming a writer and writing for the magazine. The first place I ever saw the Source magazine was in Lexington, Kentucky.
Really?
Because I don't think their distribution had made it to the West Coast yet. It was super early. It was like one of the first 4 or 5 issues. And I went out there to see my great-grandfather before he passed, and went in the records in the like a B. Dalton or Walden or something, stores that don't even exist no more. Bookstores, for those who don't know.
Right. Those seen those before, right?
Right, and I saw the Source, and I was just like, oh, shit, this is crazy. I didn't know anything like this existed. You know what I mean? So it was wild. So, yeah, if you didn't have that East Coast family, a lot of that stuff you were not getting. Like, we ain't have until probably, like, the Wake Up Show, like, or, like, K-Poo or something like that, like college radio. Like, we didn't have to where, like, the underground stuff and was popping in the Bay Area at all.
When I was a kid, I went back east, and I would get my auntie and my mom would give me cassettes, and I had a little tape recorder, and I would record all the shows, like all of them, and I would bring them back home, and I would just listen to those repeatedly over and over and over. And then I remember the first time when we moved from the east to the California, the first place I lived was in Hayward, California, and that's where I first got familiar with K-Poo. Mm-hmm. And I used to be like, oh, shit, like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, they're playing it out here now. Like, It used to be I had to go home to hear what was going on. Because if you live in the Bay Area, KMEL is a heritage hip-hop station and shit like that. But back in the day, they played rock. They was called the Camel. So we had nothing. So when K-Poo came on, they was playing some shit. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it. And they start growing. And it wasn't until like middle school freshman year where it got big and the Wake Up Show came out. Yeah. And then I remember, and then like the funny thing about it, I tell Sway this all the time. Like if you talk to Sway, you know, he's a cool brother and he's real modest and he's humble. But when I talk to him, I'll be like, do you guys know what you did to my fucking life? Like if I heard it on the radio, I knew they was here. I remember every interview. I remember like everything I do to this day, I used to emulate. I used to want to, like, it was Red Alert and them and Marley and them. But when I first heard the Wake Up Show, that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. It was the hip hop bug, but the DJing came from the Wake Up Show and King Tech and Sway. Because the way he was talking to them and the way they was throwing the records back and forth and the way they was front selling them and back selling, the people was there and they was bullying the artists to make them rap. I was like, oh, that's the life for me. This is the way I'm going.
It was pure because nobody was doing that. Like on a popular FM station, no one was doing that out here at all. Like I feel like Stretch and Bobbito was first, and then it was them. Like at the end, it was Sway and Tech. Man, I remember, you know, growing up as a black kid, you had to go to church on Sundays. Dude, I would be up until the Wake Up Show went off, recording every song that I wanted to hear, recording the freestyles.
Yeah.
My cousin Jeremy just passed. Rest in peace, bro. That was our shit. Like literally, his mom gave me a bunch of his music, and there are like 5 or 6 Wake Up Show tapes from the 90s in there. Like that was our shit. Like that was, and like it's still on, but it's not the same feeling because hip hop is so accessible now.
100%. For those who don't understand, Wake Up Show came on once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they played all, like, when even they was, KML was starting to get into hip-hop, that hardcore, rugged shit was coming from, we got it from Sway and Tech, and it was from all over the country people were getting played, you know what I mean? And they even had, like, their own local superstars that would come through. I remember Motion Man, I thought he was the greatest rapper on earth.
Motion Man on the left, it's Motion Man on the right, it's Motion Man in the middle. Come on, man.
You know what I mean? They had their own superstars inside the show, you know what I mean? So the Wake Up Show was so pivotal to everything that I do. I just, man, every time I see him, he's my mentor. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Sway taught me most of the game that I know, and I still give it up to him for what he did in that one show. Without that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Man, that's super real. You're right. Sway is like one of the most humble dudes ever. This super solid dude, for sure. What was your first DJ name? Were you always Big Von?
Nah. What happened was it was what was it? Well, my first rap name was MC Chomp D, right? Don't choke on the liquor, nigga. Be cool. That's when Pac-Man was popping, right? And he had a dog named Chomp Chomp. And I was like, yeah, that's my name, MC Chomp D. You know what I'm saying? I used to write that shit in class. And I thought it was going to be hard. And then when I got older and figured out when we wasn't doing MC Cool Ski, we wasn't doing that no more. And I went full DJing. It wasn't Wile E. Coyote. It was something Coyote. I made it because that's when Tiny Toons was popping back in like the early 90s.
Wow.
It was going to be Acme Sounds and shit. We was all going to have like this wild ass Acme thing. We was tripping, but we became Fourth Dimension. But then when we became Fourth Dimension, a DJ group inside the area, that's when we started DJing probably like 89, 90 in Pittsburgh, California. Myself, my best friend Mark, his brother Rob, Loke was there. My brother Ben, we was there, and we was Fourth Dimension, and we started DJing all the school things. Everybody's had their real names. It was just Ron. And then as we got older, we started doing parties throughout Alameda and Oakland, and we started doing things with Gene Cockerham because he was throwing the Black Saturdays and shit. We was DJing those.
Wow.
Rest in peace, Gene, because without him, we wouldn't have been in touch. We was doing things all through Pittsburgh, Antioch, Concord area, but Gene came and brought us to Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond, and we started getting in tune with what was going on inside the culture outside of Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh, California is 45 minutes from the city. We was way out. They used to think we was country. Even though I came from Hayward, they treated me like I was country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we started coming back in and started DJing. And that's when I tried to come up with one name. That's when the Big Johnson shirts was out. Remember the Big Johnson shirts?
Yeah, I remember that.
So when we go and back in the old school, when you wanted to get a phone number from a girl, you used to carry a pen. You know what I'm saying? And remember, you had your phone back then. You had to get a pen and write the number down. So everybody was like, I got the Louisville Slugger. And then somebody was like, yo, I got the Whooper. And I was like, I got the Big Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm getting all the numbers. So eventually I turned my name into Big Von Johnson. And that just, then by the time I got the radio and I was like, it's the Big Johnson on the radio, old folks was calling, what you talk about a Big Johnson on the radio? I got kids in this goddamn car. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go with Big Von from this point.
Right. All right, two things I want to get into from piggybacking off what you said. One, you mentioned Pittsburgh, and you're absolutely right. Like, we were like, that's like forever away, because until like gentrification really hit, people wasn't really moving to Pittsburgh, Brentwood, Antioch. Now everybody out there. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, everybody's out there. So most of the world was introduced to that area through mob figures and the Jacka. So talk a little bit about your relationship, you know, with them back in the day and kind of seeing them come up as youngsters, because they're younger than you, obviously. But
they're
really
2 to 3 years. They're 2 to 3 years younger than me, and I used to DJ. Me, Mark, and the whole Fourth Dimension crew used to DJ they middle school dances.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know them. Like, and then we go back to the school and they be up there and we used to dunk on them and shit. Like, yeah, little nigga, take all this, man. You know what I mean? And then, like, a couple years later, when they got to high school, I remember Huss had this growth spurt that was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, dunk on me now? Like, nah, nigga, you too big. I ain't playing with you niggas no more. Right. And by the time I graduated and started working, I started hearing that they was rapping. I was like, oh, word, you know what I'm saying? And I hear about them going to the house parties, and they had like I can't remember the park. The first video I ever seen of them was them in the park rapping. And I was like, oh, these niggas really getting it now. They really making moves. And I used to talk to them every now and then. And the next thing I knew, they was making real albums. Albums started coming out. Even back in the day, you could just get yourself an album, start your little label, go over to Rap Pages. Not Rap Pages. It was, what's my man that passed away? Showcase Magazine.
Frank. Rest in peace, Frank Herrera. Yeah.
Frank, you can go to Frank and buy you a nice little ad, because you know the independent music in the Bay Area, it is and was huge.
Absolutely.
So when you really put out a tape, we all paid attention. Like, oh, these guys is serious. That's all I know. I mean, they was kids rapping, but when I started seeing them really putting ads out, people started knowing their music, and I was like, okay, Jack, Huss, Fetty, you know what I'm saying, Freako and all them. I was like, okay, they doing. They was representing El Pueblo too. That was funny because that was the hood when I moved to Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Niggas didn't know what it was. They was repping it hard. Pueblo kids. I was like, well, do that shit then.
For sure. Rest in peace, Jack, man.
Rest in peace, Jack. I miss him, man. Love him.
Absolutely, man. Another thing you brought up, you mentioned KMEL as a heritage station, and it's interesting that, you know, history will tell a certain story that's not necessarily true. A lot of people view Hot 97 in New York as the first FM all hip hop station, when KMEL actually preceded Hot 97 as obviously K-Day in LA AM station was the first, but KMEL was the first FM huge wattage hip hop station in the country for sure.
Not only they're the first hip hop station, give shout to Keith Naftali for putting that one together. You know what I mean? Everybody that was with him, especially. But they were also the first radio station to not only start playing hip-hop, they were also to create the first hip-hop concert. The Summer Jam originated at KMEL in the Bay Area.
Yes.
Niggas don't know that. And there's Summer Jams across the country. It all started right here.
Yes. Absolutely. I have to take it, dude. And Summer Jam was such a monumental thing in the Bay. Like, you could get your entire roster for the rest of the year from going to Summer Jam, and like you said, you got a pen, you got paper, and you get numbers, because everyone who was anyone in the Bay Area was at Summer Jam. I never forget, I don't even remember who I was with, but the 1 year Summer Jam was right before I went away to college, and me and my homeboy Jarvis loved Outkast, but you didn't hear people playing Outkast in the street, in the cars, like that, and they were on early because everyone performed their Summer Jam. Like, everyone who was anywhere. It was 2 days.
2 days.
Outkast performed early when it was still daylight outside, and everyone knew every word to everything. I was like, let me find out Outkast is a guilty pleasure out here in the day. And this is first album Outkast. This is like
100%.
Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, you're 100% right, man. That story, and that's what we hear on the podcast, to tell stories that haven't been told before, tell stories that haven't been told correctly. For real. So how did you end up at KMEL? How'd you go from DJing parties and stuff and ended up at KMEL?
After DJing many years, and we did all the parties through all the Pittsburgh area, Antioch, Concord, then we moved into Oakland doing Berkeley, was doing the Black Saturdays and things. I had to get a motherfucking job. Okay, so so I got a job at a coffee shop that it's on the Embarcadero in San Francisco, which was placed in between Wild 94.9 and KMEL, which is the two leading radio stations out here in the Bay Area, which were competing at the time. And while I was there, there used to be this dude. He used to come in all the time, and I had me on the ice cream machine. And he would come in, and he would be coming from the gym that was around the corner. He would have ice cream, and I'd be bored. I'd be giving the motherfucker mad shit on it. He wanted mad sprinkles, and man, he was just so cool when he came in there. And one day I asked him, I was like, yo, man, you can't keep eating all this ice cream if you coming from the gym, right? And this lady that worked with him was Lula. Lula was like, yo, you can't talk to him like that. And I was like, why not? He was like, he owns a radio station. And I was like, he don't own no radio station. You know what I mean? He came in. I said, excuse me, sir, what's your name? He said, my name's Bob Versace. I said, you own a radio station? He said, nah, I'm a general manager. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, what is that? He was like, man, I run a radio station. He goes, why? You want to come over there? And now, as a kid, when we first started DJing, we used to make little tapes in the house. I used to make tapes called KVON, my fake radio station. I was making it in my own playlist, doing breaks and shit like that. And I had dreams of always wanting to be on the radio. I grew up listening to WBLS. I'm growing up listening to the Wake Up Show. But when I was in school, I failed everything. I had an F and everything. I failed lunch, okay? It was just horrible, okay? So when I went to one of those job fairs, they were like, you got to go to college 4 years to be on the radio. Like, I can't even make it through high school. So how the fuck I'm going to get? I was like, so that just went out the window. But when the man came to me and Bob was like, you want to come to the station? I was like, yeah. So I came over there. I did an interview. And a dude came in. He walked up and he was like, hey, what you doing here? I was like, I'm just here for an interview. And he talked to me for a little bit. And he was like, hey, man, you're going to do well. And he walked off. Then I got to a real interview. And they was like, so you want to be an intern? I was like, how much that pay? And they was like, nothing. I was like, well, fuck it. I come here. I got to get in. And the dude that originally just walked up to me and talked to me, his name was Michael Martin. He was the PD at Wild 94.9. And he was cool. He was cool from the day I just did the interview. And when the next day I seen him in the hallway, he just was like, hey, man, you made it. You're here. Yeah. And I seen his office had all the CDs. He was getting mad mail with mad CDs. And I was like, he's the guy to talk to. He's the guy that going on. I'm trying to learn what he got going on. And everybody else was just dead, kind of like, learning a little shit, but not really. And from that point on, I said, yo, what you need me to do? You need me to rearrange the CDs and throw out the trash and shit like that? And he was like, yeah, but what you don't understand is that no matter what album you have, you want to send it to a radio station so they can hear it and maybe they'll play it. So everything was coming. And this man was overloaded with CDs. So you got to think, I was getting everything before everyone else. This is like 1994. So I had Raekwon, all the, the white labels, and I was getting the Ghostface shit, and I was getting all these things. At the time, that they don't know, I worked at Wild 90. It was Wild 107 at the time before it became Wild 94.9. It was like a Latin, not pop station, but it was like a Latin station. But they were getting hip-hop records that they didn't play. So I was coming up every day. My car was full of all the hip-hop shit that they wasn't playing. So eventually one day there was a dude that he didn't want to come to work. And he was just like, and Michael was like, yo, man, like, you got to do your shift. If you don't do your shift, what's the purpose of having a job? You have got to be here. And I'm sitting there trying to get some new CDs and shit, trying to figure out going through his stuff. And he was like, bro, you got to be here. And bro's like, nah, man, I can't make it. I got to do it. He was like, it's your job, man. And eventually I said, yo, why is you begging this man to come to work? This shit don't make no sense. Like if you don't want to come, fuck what he talking about. What you need him to do? And he says, he got an on-air shift. I go, I like on air. How's it work? He told the dude, he was like, yo, don't even worry about it. Boom, hung up on it. Walked me to the studio, showed me how to work. And I was taught a lot of things by Jammin' James, rest in peace. And Javier the X-Man, he showed me a lot of things also. Then Michael came in and was like, this is what you got to do. This is what you do on the radio. This is how you talk. This is how long you talk. This is how you back sell a record, front sell a record. This is how you do the things. And from that day on, I've been on the radio.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's wild because I've known you for a while and I didn't know that story.
That's what happened. It was at Wild 94.9. We was in competition with KMEL and the little station Wild. We trained from Wild 107 to Wild 94.9. It was a little station owned by, I forget the company that was owned, but KMEL was owned by Evergreen. Evergreen was this big conglomerate. And they used to tell us, like, yo, the KMEL people used to come, yo, we're going to buy that radio station and put you niggas out of work and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, Wild 94.9 was out here kicking ass while we was doing that shit, while we was in there working. So the company that they own KMEL came and bought us and put us under the same umbrella. So then after a while, they kept talking that shit. Well, you know, we don't own y'all and get rid of y'all. And we just kept going. And one day I got sent to a listening party one time. It was my first listening party. And I went to sit down at a table. And if you've in the music industry, when you go to these things, these are mixers. You're supposed to meet and shake hands and talk to people and network. My first one, I didn't know what to do. I just got flown out there and I was sitting at a table by myself, just sitting there. I didn't know why the fuck I got there. I was in LA sitting there. And Sway walked up to me and Sway was like, hey, you're the Big Von guy that works over at the Wild. And I was like, he knows my name? Holy shit. Oh my God, the guy just walked to the table. Not only did he touch my shoulder, he knew who I was. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, bro, you can't sit here at the table, bro. You got to get up, walk around, start talking to people. You're never going to get anything while you're sitting here. So Sway introduced me to a lot of people and was giving me game in this one night. And I thought I still think he's the greatest on earth just for giving me that game. And eventually they tried to recruit me to KMEL. And I said I couldn't do it because Michael had put me on, gave me the game. I had a shift. He was letting me play hip hop in the middle of the night and shit. I couldn't leave. And they was like, man, they're going to flip that station. It's going to go away. You might want to do something with your life. And I was like, you might be right, but I'm true blue to my guy. He gave me this opportunity. I would love to work over here with Sway is, but this guy gave me an opportunity. Well, next thing you know, Michael became in charge of KMEL, and he was in charge of Wild at the same time. So back in like 1999, prior to that, like 97, 99, I was doing overnight radio, meaning I worked from 2 a.m. to 5:36 a.m. every night. And then on the weekends, I did the weekend show from like 8 to midnight. No, I did like 8 to 5 because we was playing records. It was just a DJ show. We was in there playing records, having a good time all night. And I was living the life. And Michael came to me and was like, yo, so what you want to do with your life? I'm like, shit, I'm playing these records. I'm talking shit on the radio, man. This shit is great. I come to work at 2 in the morning. I'm hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, that's cool. But, you know, you got to do something with your life. I was like, oh, shit, this nigga about to fire me. And he was like, I was like, what you mean? He was like, well, you keep talking that hip-hop shit. You're in my office, talk about Wu-Tang Cream and Ghostface, whatever, and Dog Pound this. You always talking that shit. I was like, yeah. He goes, that's why I'm sending you to KMEL, which today is a blessing. But back then I was hurt. Like, yo, it's like y'all niggas going to college and you leaving me in high school. This shit ain't smooth. And he's like, nah, man, I'm taking over the station. I'm going to put you on, but I need you to be just as pivotal as motherfucking Sway is. Because Sway had just left. You know what I mean? Right. Because I need you to be about your hip-hop, know about these records. As much shit you talk about these records, I need you to talk that shit when you on air. And I need you to help me out over there. I was like, say no more. He put me at motherfucking KMEL. I think the year was like 19 shit. It was like 99 maybe. And I've been there ever since.
Right. And I feel like the difference, you know, I've been in a lot of stations, talked to a lot of radio DJs, personalities. I think the difference between you and a lot of people is you actually love what you do.
I love what I do, and I understand that. I'm also watching that urban music is being invaded, and our urban stations are being taken away from us. They keep laying off our people, and they keep bringing in some master, like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I know that if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing, you could do the same thing to my radio station. That's why I want my station to sound like something, to have a feeling, have a soul, where it comes through the records, all of us talking on air. And I want it to feel like some sort of camaraderie, and I want to still be able to break records. That's like the key thing. When you come here, you're going to hear your shit because, you know, we play hit records, but you also going to hear some shit where you go, did they just play that on the radio? Did that just happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've broken quite a few records. I tell people all the time, the Bay breaks records, period. 100%. But you've personally broken a few records. The first one that comes to mind is because I don't think anyone was playing it other than you, and then it went everywhere. It was Doro, Ice Cream Paint Job.
Yeah.
But it became a huge hit.
Yeah.
I think before damn near anyone else, maybe other than Atlanta, what's my man's name that was signed to Tip? Hood nigga.
Oh, my man Gorilla Zoe. That's my nigga, man.
Yeah. So talk about some of the records that you've broken that people would not think broke in the Bay.
Never Been in Love Before, Talib Kweli. That came from us. You know what I'm saying? Conscious rap was still on the rise, but they wouldn't give them the look they need to. So Kweli, I broke that one. I gotta always give it up to Duro with the Ice Cream Paint Job. He had a record called Walk It, Talk It or some shit, and I heard the Ice Cream Paint Job. Somebody brought it to me off the computer or something. And I was like, that's great. Let me call this guy. And I was like, hey, I got that record you got, the Ice Cream Paint Job. By any chance, can I have that? And they were like, what do you do? I said, I play records. They go, we probably figured that. I was like, yeah, I just play records. Just give me the record. And like, what do you do? I go, I play records. That's it. They thought it was some funny shit. And they sent me the record. By my third, fourth week, I had the motherfuckers spinning. Motherfuckers was paying attention. They was like, yo, why do people from California keep calling us? Because, you know, they live in Dallas. Yeah. And it was Dero, Merk, Hella Yella, Lil Tony. And I was like, I work at a radio station. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. They didn't believe it. They got in a van and drove from Texas all the way to the Bay Area. And they showed up here. And I was like, oh, shit. And that's how we first met. And we all been friends to this day over that. My homegirl, Donna, used to work for Rockefeller. And I went to go visit her in the Rockefeller building one time. And she had to go to a meeting. I was sitting at her desk. And I was going through CDs on her desk. And I heard Can't Stop, Won't Stop for the first time on a CD she had. I thought this was the craziest record I had ever heard. Like, this shit was crazy. And I was like, Donna, can I please have this? And they wasn't tripping, though. They was just, because the Young Guns wasn't popping yet. They was in there like, I brought that shit home. We started banging that shit crazy. Had it on the radio, passing it around. I never forget, they came on, I think it was a tour, the Rock Army tour. And Jay-Z was rapping, doing the Jay-Z thing. And, you know, one by one, he would let niggas come out and rap, right? And I was with one of the reps. I forget who it was. And I was like, you do know if he lets the Young Guns play, it's going to be a problem. And they kind of like gave me the, yeah, whatever. And Jay was like, yo, I got my young niggas up here, yo, Chris and Neef. And when he went off to the side and it started, the whole fucking arena went crazy. And he stopped from going to the side and turned around and was like, oh, okay. And then he stayed on the stage while they rocked. Ask Chris and Neef about that shit. They know, you know what I mean? Records with Cam I broke. Who other records I broke? So many of them. But the biggest one that people tend to talk about now is the LMA Boot Up. That's like my biggest story. That's out of all the records I broke that got big, that one got a Grammy. And that is like, that was crazy for me.
I mean, I know certain artists you become friends with, but we know how this industry is. Industry friends all day. So are most of the artists thankful for what you've done?
100%. One of the records I broke was David Banner Play. And that's like one of my best friends to this day.
Yeah.
And we don't even talk about music. It just was something like I met him years ago, back when he was doing like a pimp. And I was listening to his music and I got into his shit. And I used to ask him, like, man, you niggas is violent. You got guns. And I think one song you said you went to his house and dragged him out the house and shot his mama in the face. He was like, hold on, man. I was like, well, that's what the song said. Your niggas is so violent. And he called me one day and was like, I know you said that I was violent, but I got something for you. And I was like, what you got? And he gave me Play. And I was like, ooh, you did it. You made it. This is it. You know what I mean? And me and Ben have been friends to this day just off of that, just being friends. You know what I mean? 50 Cent has always been good to me. Cameron's always been good, you know. You know, Jimmy has been great. Jerome, always wonderful. I mean, you know, sometimes I just want the record, and then we become friends. We friends. You know what I mean? If you forget what I did, it's whatever. I'm not a young DJ. I know how it works. You know what I mean? I like your friends while it's going, and after a while, they're gonna forget what happened for you. If we still cool and we friends, we don't even talk about music. That's even better. You know what I mean? And I gotta give a big shout to Mos Def, Talib Kweli, and a bigger shout to my man Corey Smith, the manager of the whole Black Star group, because from our years of friendship and me just showing up DJing some of their parties or DJing some of the shows, they were like, hey, you want to go to this spot date? Yep. You want to go to this next spot date? Yep. You want to go to Paris? Yep. Hey, would you mind DJing for us, being DJ for the group? So now, and I'm like a super hip-hop head for two of my favorite MCs on this earth. I DJ for a lot of people, but to be the DJ for Talib Kweli and Mos Def and to go around the world with them, life is a dream. So I made a lot of good friends off playing records.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you've been doing radio for a super long time. How did you end up doing Sunday service on Shade 405?
There's a guy. His name is 50 Cent.
Guy.
You may have heard of him.
Curtis.
You know, we've been friends for years, months. 50. He has two right hands, Nelson and Renee, and they were putting together the G-Unit G-Unit Sundays, and they had shows, and like, you know, when Fifth had records, and he set me up with interviews and things like that. Fifth would just call me, I need you to interview this person, man, they popping, okay, we don't do this, and he'd get on the phone with me himself, let's do an interview today, okay, so Fifth always pushed me, and I never asked 50 for nothing, you know what I'm saying, he's just my guy, if he calls me, I do it. But this was the one time I was like, okay, buddy, look, all right, look, I never asked for nothing, but I see you on this satellite radio thing, and I'm cool in the Bay Area, but that shit goes around the world, or the world. I need to be on Shade 45. So with the help of 50, Renee, and Nelson, they made some room, and they gave a guy a chance, and I've been there, so many years. And it's just free reign, you know what I mean? Shout to Paul, you know, Sway's there in the mornings and shit like that. So it's the best. I love it. That's why I really get to get off and start playing what the fuck I'm into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. At any point, have you ever been close to leaving to go to another station? Because I know people pay attention to the ratings, pay attention to the records you break and all of that.
I've gotten a lot of offers, but I've never really wanted to leave. I mean, it's not a bad place. It's a wonderful place.
Uh-oh.
All of us. I mean, a lot of spots have 2 or 3 mixing cultures and shit like that. We are a really big melting pot. So that's how records get broke here. You can be conscious, you could be gangster, you could be Southern, you could be from Atlanta, you could be from Detroit, you could be from LA, you could be from New York. We have this acceptance of people that is so incredible. And I have a position where I can really break records with these people. Now, to me, it's not the like, maybe I'm in my comfort zone, but I'm trying to start all over in a different area and try to read these people to get another sound and try to get them to get into what this mood is because maybe they've been wore out where they at. Nah. So I'd rather go do spot dates in other spots. But I always wanted, and DJ Khaled taught me that one time. When Khaled, he's on like his second album or some shit. He came here and he was like, hey, man, I need to use the studio. And I was like, what? He was like, I got to do this show for a radio station. I was like, word? You still do that? And he was like, man, look, you always got to have a home base. Keep your foot on your home base. Never forget where you come from. Keep rocking it there because they're going to rock with you no matter what. And keep giving them. Don't play with them. Feed them. If you got something going on, give it to them. And that always stuck with me. Like, if I wanted to leave, I would have to still be here and just rock your station from there and bring a little bit over there. I could be worldly, but I don't want to take away from what I got going on here.
That makes sense. You've been behind a lot of artist deals on the low. You've put out records on your own with certain artists, Don't Roll Down Windows, all of that stuff. How come we haven't seen a legit Big Von album getting your Khaled on?
Because I'm weird and I'm old school, and I feel like if I couldn't be Little John, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to be Little John. Little John is on the record, man. I remember I used to go see Little John DJ, and Little John could do a set for himself with him doing the verses of what he got going on. I was like, I want to do that, but I never took the time to take it serious. And I have a huge ego. Like, I cannot ask niggas for something. I cannot chase you down for a fucking verse, and because I'm gonna be offended. Because I remember how they called me when they had their shit going and they wanted me to help. If I'm asking like, oh, well, do this for me and I got to chase you, I'm like, fuck that. I couldn't do it. But as of lately, I started a group. It's called, I call it Bass Rock 85. And I've been finding little young artists to do songs. And the first one we put out is called Link in the Bio. It's my man Maul, Mayu, and Derek King. And it's just like I find young artists and like, yo, this is a platform to jump off, and I ain't got to be in the front of the whole joint. Because at this point, I don't think it's not cool no more. Like, Khaled took it here, and Drama had it there, and then Esco. But after that, I'm like, it doesn't seem cool anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but to play devil's advocate, we are the originators of the hip hop compilation, for one.
Right.
Which everybody is doing now.
Right.
So, you might as well.
Yeah, but the compilation that we grew up with was a bunch of records that you got from different people and you just put it out. You wasn't on the record. See, in the East Coast, they had mixtapes, Clue, SNS, Ty Boogie and them niggas. We had compilations, not like it wasn't big. We didn't yell over it. You got 10 songs from this joint, from everybody in the Bay. We was different. We wasn't just, you was going to get paid for this shit. We wasn't just going to give it to you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You've been spending a lot of time. I've been seeing you. I just come in and listen. I don't really talk much on Clubhouse lately. What you think about the app, man?
For those who don't know what the Clubhouse is, it's like the old school party line, like being on the phone talking shit with like panels, and it's also like Zoom without the camera. So the first couple of weeks, I've been here a few months now, it was cool. It was people talking about, how we can get further in tech and real estate and investments and shit. Then a couple weeks later, it became some industry people came in. We was talking music things, how we can get better and get our masters and get more empowerment. Then that turned to who's the illest MC, who's your top 5, and so-and-so's better for that. Then one nigga came in and that just turned it, man, is it hoes in here? I said, uh-oh. The property value has gone down in the Clubhouse. It's gotten wild up in here.
Facts. Because I was there for the earlier stuff.
Right.
Whenever I come in and hear more than 3 people talking over each other, I immediately leave the room.
Man,
it's
I was in the room.
They was
whispering. They was like, who this nigga coming up in here? Who is he? It was the whisper room. I said, yo, this is crazy. And then when they started Cash App trapping, where you had if you don't know, if you get on the Clubhouse, your AV is in there and they can just hear your voice, but you can change the picture. When they started putting butt cheeks and Cash Apps up, I was like, uh-oh, it's out of here.
I didn't even keep that shit.
Oh, man, I was hanging out in there. I was in the room trying to see. I was in there mingling, and they got crazy. I was like, oh, they just doing anything up in here. This shit is done turned. It's like Vegas. This is wild.
Yo, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. One thing I want to talk about, because you and I have differing opinions on music from time to time.
All the
And
time.
I was trying to be nice.
All the time. Shit.
But the one thing that I always will bring up, and you always, give great knowledge about this, is that the Bay Area is one of the few regions where like we like a certain tempo and that's it. So there are many records that are popping everywhere else, but you play that shit in the club in the Bay Area, the dance floor will empty.
All right, so what you got to understand, on the West Coast, we are a high tempo people. I mean, high BPMs. I mean, if you know your BPMs, from 95 to like 104, maybe a little bit faster, not too much. And we like to dance. We dance all the time. Now, I'm not taking away from the other regions because they do have their own certain dances, but they also changed it up to the point when you start noticing the dance floors was missing and it became table culture, and it just kind of like, let's stand in a circle. It became all shoulders and fist music, so we wasn't dancing. But since they have such a chokehold on the sound, our music hasn't made it across. The only ones that really make it across is like Snoop, Dre, 40. He can get it off. Short can get it. But everybody else don't really get that appeal until those people get records like ours and those become their bigger records. Like 2 Chainz, I'm Different. That's West. You know what I'm saying? Offset in Metro Boomin. That's us. You know what I'm saying? Tempo. We don't want to go slow. We want to go fast, and that's just not our thing. But we're not dominant enough to shift the culture. Drake has to do it. When Drake came with the motto, I said, oh, okay. He know what it is. He been here. He know how it go. When they start remaking Blow the Whistle, I'm like, oh, okay, you understand what it is. To come here to see it, then you understand. But the other regions have such a strong hold on it. They're just going to make us live in 60 BPMs forever, and I can't take it.
You hate that shit.
I hate it with a passion. I hate it with a passion. Especially if, like, I grew up in an era where the records was fast. You know what I mean? And if for the urban people, you know how it works. You understand the feel of it, right? But don't forget, you're only 13% of the country. You're not dictating what the fuck is going on. All these DSPs is run by the others, and they can't dance like we dance. So when slow tempos makes it easier for them to dance. Our fast shit is too much for them, and they can't get it. You know what I'm saying? You could tell when you play a record and the white person starts shaking their head all crazy and shit, trying to catch the words. You be like, okay, this is not for you. Just go back to the shoulder dancing. You know?
Bruh, you stupid.
It's real. You know it's real. Keep talking.
Oh, man. Yo, so before we get up out of here, man, I wanted to talk about the show that you guys got, you and the boy Dame, y'all do on IG every night. PST joint, man. Speak a little bit of y'all be catting off. Like for real.
What you mean? How we catting off? How?
For those who don't know, catting off, Google it. It's a San Francisco term that the rest of the Bay has adopted. But y'all be catting for real.
For those who don't know, if you go to my Instagram live or the boy Dame, I started a show called PST. It stands for Pacific Standard Time, because every time I went on the internet, Instagram, Twitter, they were always quoting things that came from the East, and they kept leaving out a lot of things that I loved. I didn't get enough Sugar Free. I didn't get enough E40. I didn't get enough Too Short. I didn't get enough Scarface. I didn't get enough Bun B. I didn't get enough Vince Staples. I didn't get enough of what I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I've been doing radio for all these years. It's only right. I watched the Everyday Struggle. I listened to the Joe Buttons, all them. I was like, fuck that. I'm finna do it from how I'm going to talk about it. From this side. So every night at 8 o'clock, West Coast time, PST, because PST is what matters. We get on there and we talk. And I give you the views of the news of the day. Yeah. And I don't see the catting off. I see there's a lot of, I give some good game in those things there. Mr. B, what you mean? What do you mean I'm catting off? What did you hear?
With you, but y'all be catting too.
What did you hear that made this catting you speak of?
I think it was last week when you and Dame wasn't with it, but you was talking about chicks running trains on dudes. That's catting off. That's catting off for sure.
See, you're trying to Fox News me. You're taking it out of context. You're taking it out of context. See, I've also been running this war about women not getting they due, and they always having to show their butt cheeks all the time. And I'm like, ladies, you don't have to. Matter of fact, make videos and slut men out. Just degrade them. Pour champagne on them and, smack them on the ass. Make them do pull-ups in gray sweatpants while you make the videos. Do it for the ladies. Don't do it for the girls. Slut the men out. And I had Mulatto come on, and Mulatto is the one. If you go watch all Mulatto's videos, she's slutting these dudes out. And I was asking her, I was like, yo, are you doing it in the old school? They used to have like the tryouts for all the video vixens and be like, jump up and down and turn around. Let me see your butt cheeks. I was like, yo, do you do that to the men? And she was like, nah, not really. But when I get them in the video, I said, this is what you got to do. Slut them men out. And then I was like, Dame wasn't with it at all. And I was like, man, so if Beyonce's dancers had a long week and Beyonce said, hey, go serve all my dancers and I'll let you be in my video, would you do it? Nigga was like, no. And I was like, hey, they can run a train on me. Ladies, I'm here for you. Slut me out. I'm with it. That's what it got to be about.
Yeah. And now you have these are the conversations that we have off the camera.
Come over to PST. Yeah. We talk about it every night.
Yeah. Wild. Please tell people where they can find you, man, where they can support.
Hey, man, you can find me on the Instagram and Twitter at Big Von, BIGVON. If you can't spell, you don't deserve that smartphone that you got in the first place. You catch me on KML every day, 2 to 6. I'm mixing 7 and 9 and all over the weekends. I run all those. Sunday, if you listen to satellite radio, turn to Shade 45. I got a joint called Sunday Service. It's less yap, more rap, all the good hip-hop, old school, new school. I blended up breaks, all that. And I try to show you that, man, rap ain't dead. It's still good shit out here, and you won't be reminded of the good shit that came before it.
Absolutely. Sirius XM needs to put that shit on demand too.
I've been telling them, man. I be trying to tell them, man. They'll figure it out. But as a matter of fact, you ain't even got to wait for that. Y'all want to get some mixes, all my shit, of my Sunday services or my one-on-one series where when I have an argument. As of lately, I'm a big Griselda fan. And I love what they, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes there's people that just don't get it. I don't know what they talk about. Well, I got a Griselda one-on-one. All you got to do is go to mixcloud.com/BigVon, BIGVON. You can get that, Sean Price one-on-one, Prodigy one-on-one, and all my Sunday service mixes in case you need something. Shout out to people in jail that be listening too. I got a lot of jail people rocking them shit. Shit's crazy.
Awesome. Man, we appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all watching, brother. I appreciate your time, man. This was long overdue. And we'll see y'all next week with another dope show. Peace.
Day one!